Hi, my dear students. I welcome you all for your video class. Today, I am going to revise History Chapter 2 New Kings and Kingdoms. In this chapter, what are the topics we discussed? First one is emergence of new dynasties, then administration in the kingdoms, then precious trees and land grants, then warfare for wealth, then a closer look the Cholas. In the topic what we discussed already is from Urayu to Tanjavur, then splendid temples and bronze sculpture, then agriculture and irrigation, then the administration of the empire. Clear, children? These are the topics already we discussed. Okay, students, first I'll give the quick revision about the chapter number 2. What are the topics we discussed already? Yes, the emergence of new dynasties, then administration in the kingdoms, then precious trees and the land grants, and the warfare for wealth, and a closer look the Cholas. In that what we discussed as from Urayu to Tanjavur, then splendid temples and bronze sculpture, then agriculture and irrigation, then the administration of the empire. That's all about these chapter topics. Okay. Many new dynasties emerged after the 7th century. That map one shows the major ruling dynasties in different parts of the subcontinent between 7th and 12th centuries. Clear, children? Or you understand what I am telling? Many new dynasties emerged after which century? 7th century. That map one shows major ruling dynasties in different parts of the subcontinent between which centuries? 7th and 12th centuries. Clear, children? First one is emergence of new dynasties. What does mean by emergence of new dynasties? By the 7th century AD, that is big landlords or warriors, chiefs, gained great importance in the kingdoms. Okay, you understand what I am telling? The king acknowledged them as subordinates or samantas. These samantas collected tax and control over their regions. Okay. By the 7th century AD, the big landlords or warriors, chiefs, gained great importance in the kingdoms. Mainly, the king acknowledged them as a what? Subordinates or samantas. These samantas, mainly they collected tax and control over their regions. Clear? Then Samantas gained power and wealth. Then they declared themselves as Maha Samantas, then Maha Mandaleshwaras, and sometimes as independent rulers. Clear? Or you understand what I am telling? For example, the Rashtrakutas in Deccan were initially subordinate to the Chalukyas of Karnataka. In other cases, men used the military powers or military skills to establish their kingdoms. Okay. For example, Kadamba Mayura Sherman. Okay. Are you understand what I am telling? That's all about the emergence of new dynasties. Next one is administration in the kingdoms. Many of these new kings adopted high sounding titles such as Maharaja Adiraja, that is great king, overlord of kings, then Tirubhuvana Chakravartin, lord of 3 worlds, and so on. Those kings, they were shared power with their samantas, as well as they are associated with the peasants, traders and brahmanas. Are you understand? Are you cleared with this? Then these resources were used to finance the king's establishment as well as the construction of temples and forts. Or you understand? They were also used to fight wars, which were in turn expected to lead the acquisition of wealth in the form of plunder and access to land as well as trade routes. What is the third topic, children? Yes, precisties and land grants. Precisties were often written in the price of the king. They mentioned the king as a valiant, victorious warriors, and so many things. They described the king's achievements. What is that? Who described the king's achievements? Yes, precisties. These precisties were composed by learned brahmanas. Clear? These precisties were composed by learned brahmanas. And the land grants, the kings often rewarded brahmanas by grants of land. Then the grants were recorded on copper plates. These recorded plates were given to those who received the land. Clear? A person who received the land could collect taxes from it. Or you understand? Once again, I'll repeat the precisties and land grants. Who are called as precisties? Precisties were often written in the praise of the king. Okay, they mentioned mainly they mentioned the king as valiant, then victorious warriors, and so many things. Okay, mainly they described the king's achievements. Clear? What did they describe? They described the king's achievements. These precisties were composed by learned brahmanas. Mainly, kings often rewarded brahmanas by grants of land. The grants were recorded on the copper plates. These recorded plates were given to those who received the land. Okay, a person who received the land could collect taxes from it. Are you understand? That's all about precisties and grand lands. Shall we move to next topic? Next one is warfare for wealth. Children, you may notice that each of these ruling dynasties are mainly based on in a specific region. Okay, at the same time they try to control other areas. Clear? One particular area is the city of Kanauj in the Ganga Valley. In that, one of the best known of such rulers is Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni, Afghanistan. He ruled from 997 to 1030 and extended control over parts of Central Asia, Iran, and the northwestern part of the subcontinent. Clear? Then Sultan was also interested in finding out more about the people he conquered and entrusted scholar named Al-Biruni to write an account of the subcontinent. Clear? This Arabic work is known as Kitabul Hind. Clear? Remains an important source for historians. Then other kings who engaged in warfare that may include the Chahamanas, later known as Chauhans. Clear, children? Chauhans who ruled over the region around Delhi and Ajmer. They attempted to expand their control to the west and east, where they were opposed by the Chalukyas of Gujarat. Then in the western Uttar Pradesh, who is in that western Uttar Pradesh? Gahadavalas of western Uttar Pradesh. Then the best known Chahamana ruler was Prithviraj III, who defeated an Afghan ruler named Sultan Muhammad Ghori in 1191, but lost to him the very next year in 1192. Now you understand, children, already you have learned that. Just I am giving revision to this chapter. Okay. Okay, children, we'll move on to next topic. Next one is a closer look the Cholas. The most prominent dynasty of the South Indian plains was the Chola dynasty. Clear, children? The Chola were a contemporary of the Chalukyas, the Pallavas, the Pandyas, and the Rashtrakutas. Clear? Are you understand? The Cholas were earlier subordinate to the Pallava kings of Kanchipuram. Then Vijayalaya Chola was related to the ancient ruling family of Cholas. Mainly he belonged to Urayur. Mainly he belonged to where? He belonged to Urayur and had captured that Kaveri Delta region from Muttarayar in the middle of 9th century. Okay, after that the new dynasty was founded by him, who ruled from AD 846 to 871. Clear? Then most prominent rulers of Chola dynasty were Rajaraja I and Rajendra Chola. That period of Rajaraja first AD 985 to 1016. Okay, then Rajendra Chola AD 1016 to 1044. Mainly they conquered the neighboring kingdoms and annexed the Pandyan and Pallava territories that were to the north and south of the Chola Empire. Clear? Rajaraja first is considered the most powerful ruler. He also reorganized the administration of the empire. Then Rajendra first continued his policies and raided the Ganga Valley, then Sri Lanka and other countries of Southeast Asia. Then he developed a powerful navy of these expeditions. Now you understand? And the art and architecture of that is splendid temples and bronze sculptures, that is okay. From there, the Cholas were great contribution to art and architecture. Mainly, they built temples according to some basic plans that drew some distinction from North Indian style. Mainly, they placed the temples in the enclosed courtyard. Clear? Then the temples also had huge gateways called gopurams. Are you understand what I am telling? The Cholas made great contribution to art and architecture. Mainly they built temples according to some basic plans that drew some distinction from the North Indian style. Mainly they placed the temples in an enclosed what? Courtyard. Clear? These temples had a huge gateways called what? Gopurams. Clear? The image of the deity was placed inside the what is that? Inside the that sanctum. The best examples of these temples are at Tanjavur, that present Thanjavur, and Gangaikonda Cholapuram. They were built by Rajaraja and Rajendra Chola. Mainly they are architectural marvels. Architectural marvels. Then the Cholas are also best for their metal images and stone sculptures. However, the South Indian style of temple architecture is best represented by the Pandyan rulers who ruled between the 7th to 13th centuries AD. Mainly the Meenakshi temple at Madurai, built by the Pandyan rulers, though does not exist, was known for its distinctive features. Around the Chola temples grow settlements of crafts and traders. A visual image of Nataraja made in bronze under the Chola dynasty in the 10th century AD has been found. It continues to be reproduced in metal, stone, and other materials right up to the present sometimes. The Chola Nadraja is often said to be supreme statement of Hindu art. Clear? Then the temples were cultural centers and the centers of craft production. All about the art and architecture. Okay, next topic we'll discuss agriculture. That is agriculture, and the Cholas had become powerful on account of trade and agricultural prosperity. Mainly they used their money for initiating the agricultural reforms. Okay, these reforms are helped to build a strong agrarian landscape, then adorning their economy. Clear? Notice from the map of the Chola kingdom how river Kaveri branches off into several small channels before emptying into the Bay of Bengal. These channels relieved the soils of waste food plains year after year. Or you understand? The fertile soils were responsible for the agricultural prosperity of the regions. Besides rice, many other crops were also cultivated in these places. Then variety of methods to irrigate the fields were put to practice. Mainly they included the canals in the delta regions, wells in some areas, and tanks in others. Mainly these irrigation works required for planning, organized labor, and resources, then maintenance of work, and decisions on sharing of water. Or you understand? These are the trading associations had also built extensive networks of irrigation, which had enabled the agriculture to be carried out in the region. Or you understand? That's all about the agriculture and irrigation. Okay, next we'll discuss the administration of the empire. There are many features of Chola administrations, whereas one is centralized administration, another one is revenue, another one is role of landowners. Clear? These are the main features of Chola administration. What does mean by centralized administration? It is nothing but the rich peasants of Velala caste exercised control over the affairs of the Nadu. That is agrarian agrarian unit. It comprised many villages, and Nadu was directly under the supervision of central government. Clear? That's all about the centralized administration. Next one is revenue. What does mean by revenue? Productive cultivated land during the time of Rajaraja constituted a major source of land revenue for the upkeep of the Chola Mandalam. Clear? Or you understand? That is the second main features of Chola administration. Another one is role of landowners. What does mean by role of landowners? The landowners were given the titles like Muvenda Velan, a Velan or a peasant serving three kings, chiefs, areas, and so many things, as a mark of what? Mark of respect. Clear? Mainly they held important office at the center. Mainly the villagers were grouped into several types like Brahmadevas, that is Brahman villagers, Velala former villagers, then Thaniyur, those who did some commendable work. Then Devadana, that land gifted to temples. You understand? These are the villages or grouped into several types. Village was an area that had wetlands, dry lands, and cultivators, village site, houses, house gardens, meeting places, wastelands for grazing cattle, then tanks, cow pens, and hedges forest lands, barren lands, then streams, channels, rivers, arable lands, near rivers, pits of water and trees. Okay, or you understand? That's all about your chapter, children. Next we'll revise question and answers from this chapter. Okay, first we'll revise a short answer. What is the first question? Trace out the emergence of new class of rulers. Once again I'll repeat the question. What is the first question? Trace out the emergence of new class of rulers. What is that? During the 7th century, a new class of rulers were emerged. During 7th century, a new class of rulers were emerged. Then they were the subordinates or samantas under the influence of big landlords or warriors. Clear? Later, they themselves gained the power of power and wealth. They declared themselves as Mahasamantas or Mahamandaleshwara, the great lord of a circle or region. Clear? Once again I'll repeat, children, just understand, just listen. During the 7th century, a new class of rulers were also emerged. In their time, they were the subordinates or samantas under the influence of what? Under the influence of whom? Big landlords. Okay, big landlords or warriors. Later, they themselves gained power and wealth and declared themselves to be Mahasamantas and Mahamandaleshwara, the great lord of a circle or region. Clear? That's all about the first question. Okay, what is the next question, children? Describe the irrigation system of Chola kingdom. What is that question? Irrigation system during the Chola ruler was much improved. What is that? Irrigation system during the Chola ruler was improved. Then a variety of methods were used for irrigation, especially in the Tamil regions. Okay. Next, many wells were dug. Then huge tanks were also constructed to collect water. Mainly, the kings themselves took interest in organizing labor and resources and extensive planning. Clear, children? Once again, I'll repeat the points. Just listen. Irrigation system during the Chola ruler was much improved. Then, a variety of methods were used for irrigation in the Tamil regions. Then many wells were dug and huge tanks are also constructed. For what purpose they are used to construct the tanks? To collect water. Okay. Then the kings themselves took interest in organizing labor and resource and in extensive planning. Clear, children? That's all about the question 2. Now it is clear, first and second question. Okay. Next we will move on to third question. What is the third question, children? Write a short note on Pracistes. What is the question? Write a note on Pracistes. Pracistes often written by whom? Learned Brahmanas. Clear? Pracistes often written by whom? Learned Brahmanas. Pracistes often written by learned Brahmanas. Then the Pracistes were details of the functioning of a king. Then they may not be literally true, but they tell us how rulers wanted to depict themselves as valiant, victorious warriors and so many things. Okay. Pracistes were details of the functioning of king. Mainly they may not be literally true. They usually tell us how rulers wanted to depict themselves as valiant and victorious warriors and so many things. Okay. Brahmanas were rewarded by grants of land. which were recorded on copper plates. Which were recorded on copper plates. Clear, children? That's all about the that's all about the third question. Next, we'll move on to fourth question. Who was Dandi Durga? How did he become Kshatriya? Dandi Durga was a Rashtrakuta chief, okay, in the Deccan, that is present day Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Who was Dandi Durga? Dandi Durga was a Rashtrakuta chief in the region of where? In the region of present day Karnataka, in the region of Deccan, that is present day Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Initially, Rashtrakutas were the subordinates to the Chalukya of Karnataka. Clear, children? Rashtrakutas are whom? Initially, Rashtrakutas were the subordinate to the Chalukya of Karnataka. Dandi Durga in the mid 8th century overthrew his Chalukya overlord and performed a ritual known as Hiranyagarbha. Are you understand? Hiranyagarbha. Dandi Durga in the mid 8th century overthrew his Chalukya overlord and performed rituals that is known as Hiranyagarbha. It was thought to lead the rebirth of the sacrifice of a Kshatriya, even if he was not only by birth. Are you understand? Who was Dandi Durga here? Dandi Durga was a Rashtrakuta chief in the Deccan, that is present day Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, that is and Telangana. Initially, Rashtrakuta were the subordinate to the Chalukya of Karnataka. Then the Dandi Durga in the 8th century overthrew his Chalukya overlord and performed a ritual known as what? Hiranyagarbha. It was thought to lead to the rebirth of the sacrifice of Assam Kshatriya, even if he was not only by birth. Or you understand? That's all about the question number 4. Next question is, what was tripartite struggle? The tripartite struggle was a long conflict among the rulers of Gurjara, Prahadira and Rashtrakuta and Pala dynasties from control over Kannauj. Clear? Once again I'll repeat. What was a tripartite struggle? The tripartite struggle was a long conflict among the rulers of Gurjara, Pradihara, Rashtrakuta and Pala dynasties from control over Kannauj. Clear? Then we'll move on to next question. Who was Kalhana? Why was he famous for? What is that question? Who was Kalhana? Why was he famous for? Kalhana was a great Sanskrit poet who wrote a long Sanskrit poem, okay, depicting the ruler of Kashmir. Once again, I'll repeat the point. Kalhana was a great Sanskrit poet who wrote a long Sanskrit poem depicting the ruler of Kashmir. Okay. Then he used a variety of sources which may include what? Including the inscriptions, then documents and eyewitness. Okay. Once again, I'll repeat. He used a variety of sources. What are the sources used by whom? Inscriptions, documents, eyewitness. Okay. Then he was different from others, different from the writers of precious trees, for he was often critical about the rulers and their policies. Okay. Once again I'll repeat. He was different from other writers of precious trees, for he was often critical about rulers and their policies. Okay, that's all about this chapter. For detail and all, we'll revise an online online session. Okay. I hope you all understand this chapter clearly. We'll see in next video class. If you have any doubt, means ask me in online class. Thank you, students.